Okay, so as you can see beneath us, people are leaving Boston Convention Center here for PAX East. It's over, it's all done. Well, I think there's maybe a couple of events left, some tournaments or something. But the expo floor is closed, there's no more panels, and we are done for completely and utterly. What's the last 7 days been like for you?
Well, tiring, I guess, is the first word that comes to mind, but very exciting as well. We've seen a lot of very interesting stuff. I mean, right up until the last minute, we were running around on the expo floor here trying to squeeze in the last few games. We had a short list. I think we covered everything on it.
I think we actually missed a few that I wanted to do, but also some of them weren't up for an interview, and things like Tearaway Unfolded, they weren't really doing media here. They were only here to sort of reach out to the community.
Yeah,
so
they weren't PR approved to talk to media.
Which is too bad. You know, we would never ask any sort of questions that would get them into hot water or trouble, would we?
Of course not.
But yeah, the last interview I did was on a game called Time Machine, and it's a studio called Minority Media that I've followed a few years. They did Papo and Joe. They did it was called Silent Enemy, and then it's sort of Spirit something. I can't remember what it's called. Very interesting game, very interesting studio, and now they're doing something that perhaps will appeal a little bit more to hardcore gamers. They're doing a virtual reality game called Time Machine, where you're a scientist traveling back in time to to the time of dinosaurs, basically.
Yeah.
And very interesting game concept that long lines here at PAX East to try it out, and fortunately we didn't have time to try it, but we did do an interview on it.
And we can say the same about a lot of games.
That's the thing, like, I tell so many developers here, like, oh, I'd love to come back and try your game when we're done our interviews. We're never done. We played We Happy Few today, so that was one of the few games that we had time to play. And very interesting.
Yeah, and what a great game to actually get to sit down and play. I mean, first of all, the art style and the aesthetics of it are absolutely beautiful. It's the same studio that made Contrast. The art is very reminiscent of that, but it's a different time period, and it's first person this time around. The gameplay reminds me a little bit of The Ship, which is a highly underrated game that I really enjoyed, except this one is not multiplayer, and, well, you're not assassinating other people. Here you're trying to sneak around and stay...
fit in, basically.
Yeah, basically fit into a drug-addled public. Everybody around you is on this happy drug, and you are trying to survive for 3 days, I think it was, until you can escape off this island that the city is in. The city is procedurally generated, so it's new every time you start it up around. But it's going to have like this mission-based, and there's going to be some sort of story mode in there. They haven't quite nailed that down yet. It's early in development, only 4 months, and looks and plays absolutely phenomenally considering that.
I don't know if it was 4 months or 8 months or something like that, but they're planning to go on Kickstarter in a couple of months.
Yep.
And they don't really need the money, but they want to get a community going. And I think that's a nice way of doing a Kickstarter, that you're not actually asking to fund the game. You're asking people to sort of contribute to be part of something, and that's a nice take on it. And that's also why they're here at PAX East, showing something that's really, really early. I mean, they were talking about how the procedural part is not really as it's meant to be yet. You know, the buildings aren't really connecting all the way. There are sort of areas that don't look as good as they should. But it's just an interesting concept, and one of those things where, you know, the world just begs for exploring, and I guess that's the main thing about the game. Wonderful art style. We did get to interview both the creative director, I think,
yes,
and the art director, so we got both angles on that, and you know, just a lovely looking game. What else did we do?
I mean, we did so many things that it's too long a list to cover here, because we're trying to keep this blog a little bit shorter, but I mean, basically, what I take away from both GDC and PAX is, I mean, it's been going on for a couple of years now, the rise of the indies, and it's never been as pronounced as it is right here. and in San Francisco GDC that we just covered as well. I mean, there's not hardly any AAA games here. Of course, we have Overwatch from Blizzard, which is phenomenal.
Yeah,
as
we
well.
got to play that.
For that.
We got to play that yesterday. Oh. It's an awesome game. And it's also one of those games where like it's so polished.
It
looks so.
It's ready. Get it out there.
Yeah,
Come on.
But they have some ways to go.
I know.
Yeah. But the thing of the indies is also like a lot of people perhaps got a little bit of a bad taste for indies because some of the earlier indie stuff is a little bit, what should I say, a little bit unpolished and not sort of the grand experience. But now we're getting indie games that, we call them indie games, but really they're fully scoped out, maybe smaller teams, maybe just a one man, but if you work long enough and you have a great enough idea and it's polished enough, why do we have to make the distinction really?
Yeah, and I mean it's really following what's happened in the past couple of years, 5-10 years or so. The death of the middle man, they were all kind of absorbed into bigger companies, and then studios got closed because the AAA couldn't sustain itself. So now we actually have indie teams that are kind of similar sized as the middle-sized developers were, and I mean we are getting bigger indie experiences, but I mean they actually feel like big complete games.
Speaking of the death of the middle, we did touch bases with one of those middle-sized developers, Jaeger Developments in Berlin. Not only are they working on Dead Island 2, they also have a game called Dreadnought that they showcased here at PAX East. Probably the game with the most stations running. I think they had 50 computers running this game.
Yeah, but also it's a 5-on-5 game, so in order to have more than 2 or 3 game sessions going, well, they need 10 for each session.
Yes. And well, they obliged, and the lines were long, and looks like a really cool game. It's a concept that, I'm just surprised that no one has done it before. It's like a space fighting, dog fighting sim, but with big ships, capital ships that, don't really maneuver like the small fighters that we're used to in this sort of game, which makes for a much more tactical gameplay, which is a very interesting approach to it. It was 5-on-5, the demo here, but they're also doing a single player. So the multiplayer will be free to play. We don't know how the single player will be, but it's going to be episodic. Very interesting concept, a very seasoned and skilled developer, so looking forward to that. Many highlights here at PAX East. When you think about it, we were a little bit disappointed when we hit the floor first.
Yeah, but that was also, I think, because it was Friday morning. We had just come in on the red eye, 6 o'clock in the morning, straight to the conference hall. Kind of tired, and we were looking around like, where are the AAAs? Yeah. But then when you actually get into the booths and you check out the indies and you see the diversity of ideas and gameplay and look and feel, and I mean, yeah, I really impressed actually.
And I think that's a great way to sign off here from Boston. PAX East is done, it's over, it's in the bag. You're gonna get to see, I think we did about 100 shows, interviews, etc. From GDC and PAX East, about 50-50, I'd say, split. So there's a lot coming up. Some of those are ones that I felt were really, really good. So I'm hoping that you'll find the same. But we did have a lot of excellent talks, and I think one of the things I take away from this is not only did we get to see a lot of great games, we also talked to a lot of interesting and great people who had a lot of interesting things to say to us. So look forward to that, and
also to all of our Gamereactor Academy subscribers. After we finished our interviews, we did shorter interviews with the developers on their careers, advice to upcoming game developers. So that's going to be coming up for Gamereactor Academy subscribers as soon as we can.
A lot of interesting answers there, and a lot of interesting insights that you will be able to take advantage of if you're part of the Academy. That said, enough promotion, enough of that stuff. We're out of here. I wish I could drop my badge, but we're actually going back to the press room to pick up our stuff, so we can't drop it quite yet. But that's it for us, and thanks for watching.
Yeah.